Well, I've been profiling literally all day, and I'm coming to the realization that I probably brought too many amps today. I kind of knew I was going to be able to get everything done, but had a bunch of stuff to do. That thing, the Supreme, the Supro 1600 Supreme, I'd be lying if I said after profiling it I wasn't thinking about keeping it, because it is a sweet amp. It really is a sweet amp. Kind of reminds me of like Prince, like a little like Supro's version of like a little Princeton or a Bronco, or like you know, something like that. Like, it's low wattage, and it's simple. It's just got two channels, kind of like the Black Magic, but different sounding. But it just sounds great, clean, and really these profiles came out with a really beautiful top end. Then we got the big guy here, the Statesman, and you know, to me, the Statesman is really cool. I set it up over here just so I didn't have to run around as much, and I have the cab in the next room. But the Statesman's has the, this is the the Thunderbolt channel. So the Statesman on channel 1, here, let me turn this on so you can see the lights. So on channel 1, it's the Statesman is a Thunderbolt circuit. And it sounds really great. This channel got super bassy pretty quick, and that's typical of the Supro sound. The Supro sound to me is like a very, I would call it, it's an American sound, but it has the exploding nature of a Vox in the low end. So not in every way does it sound like a Vox, but in the way that a Vox's low end sometimes sounds like it's going to blow up, and that explodey kind of sound, that's how I describe it. It sounds like the amp's going to explode. The Supro does that, and does it with a lot of low end. So they can be kind of hard to control. And that's one of the great things about the Kemper, and that's why I love the Kemper. One of the tricks I've learned is that when you encounter an amp like this that has a lot of low end, and it doesn't have controls for it. Now, some low end does roll off, but all we have is this tone knob here. You know, that's all we have. So one trick I've discovered is that when you are profiling, you actually can just live with the amount of bass that the amp puts out. And then later, like when I get home later, I'm going to cut out some bass. I'm going to use the bass knob on the EQ, and I'm going to take some bass out. And try and just get the low bass, you know? I'm going to do that, and I think the Kemper does a good job of that. That bass has a fairly low frequency range that it cuts out. It doesn't cut out all the bass. But another way to do it is to shift the low end of the cab up, right? So go into the cab section and use the low shift and shift it up, and take some of those lowest bass frequencies and just shift them, you know, up a little bit so that they're not so offensive. Then we've got, when you switch over to channel 2 here, this is the Comet circuit. And this Comet circuit just gives us treble and bass, and then there's some verb. Obviously, I'm not using the verb. And then I've got to look back at the original circuits of these amps, because here I have a Class AB and a Class A option. Now, I've been profiling this amp on Class A. I went online and I started listening to some demos, and I noticed that Mark Lethierry uses this amp. And it looked like he was using it in all the demos I could find, in the demo and then in a clip of him playing. It looked to me like he was running it in Class A, but he runs both channels together. So you can run both these channels together. Isn't that really nifty? Channel 1, Thunderbolt. Channel 2, Comet. Both of them, Statesman. Both channels together. And it's literally one input. They just let you select which channel is going to be active. So just finished this amp. Some thoughts on it. It sounded incredible by itself. This amp is like tailor-made for a Klon. Not a tube screamer so much, but the Klon. The Klon actually, in its bass cut, cleaned up all the issues of the Supro bass. That really strong Supro bass was just healed by the Klon, by Dr. Klon. And the mid-range in the Klon just gave it a little more push, because some of the breakup in these Supros is sort of Marshall-esque. It's Marshall-esque in like a Plexi JTM kind of way. And that's why I think, you know, Jimmy used Supros and utilized that Supro sound. That's the Black Magic amp. It's supposed to be Jimmy's sound. And there's a reason I think a lot of people think that's a Marshall on the records. It's not. Not all the records. Jimmy used a lot of amps. You can go back and read about Mr. Page and his amp usage, but these amps are really great. It's going to make a great pack. That's going to be the Tone Junkie Super Pack. And the Super Dark Magic Pack's already out, but this is going to be, it's going to have profiles of the Comet, profiles of the Thunderbolt, profiles of the Statesman, both those channels together, and then profiles of that that Supreme 1600 back there. And I'm really excited about this pack. It's going to be very cool. The Thunderbolt sounded great through all this stuff. We did the King of Tone through the Statesman. We did a bunch of Klon stuff. We just did all sorts of things, and it's really been great. I got to tell you, though, I much rather have people here while I'm profiling. I really wish John 2 or the Sues were here, and I'm really looking forward to next week being able to run around NAMM with those guys, because I've literally been cooped up in here, and all that. I did some other stuff too, which I'll talk about in a later video, but I should get some dinner, and then I'm actually going to come back here and do some more amps, hopefully before it gets too dark, but it's summer, so it stays bright outside. All right, HW, out.